Fire Company, and a variety of militiamen. This force followed the same road up to the States that Norton had led his First Nations allies. Once there, they were joined by a detachment from Chippewa under Captain Richard Bullock. So Sheaffe placed his main force, consisting of the men from the 41st and the 49th, directly in front of the Americans. On the western flank were Norton's warriors, the light companies of the 41st and 49th Regiments, and Runchy's Colored Company. Bullock's force was added to the right of the British line. The militia force was positioned to the left and rear of Sheaffe's main body of forces. As you can see, both the British forces and the American forces are bringing all of their fighting forces onto the battlefield for the final engagement.
Some of them have white pants.
So just take a look, ladies and gentlemen, at the number of troops we have on the battlefield before us today. The British forces stretched out all the way from the tree line across to the far corner of the battlefield, and the American line stretched across the center of the field before us. See the British line is slowly moving forward, getting themselves in position. When the attack commenced, the Western force, firing independently, began to close rapidly with the enemy. The main British body, firing deliberately by companies, started to advance as well. In support of all of the infantry on the field, we still have the artillery pieces firing, trying to keep the other forces, soldiers, pinned down. Firefight began between the British and American forces, along with their First Nations allies and each of their militia. And you can hear the fife and drum corps out on the battlefield as well. It was the music of these fife and drum corps that would help the troops keep the cadence. They were the walkie-talkies, if you will, of the battlefield in the 18th and early 19th century. It didn't matter how loudly you shouted, odds are you would not be heard over the artillery fire and the musketry out on the field. So it was the fife, drum, and bugle calls from these musicians that would disseminate the orders from the officers to the sergeants and then to the men on the field.
Poor guy here.
So we can see that the British forces have consolidated at the base of the field before us, and the American line is starting to take heavy casualties. Traitors were treated harshly on the battlefield. You can see officers being carried off the field with litters or blankets, whatever material they had. If you look at the image of some of these young boys that were on the battlefield, that were running messages from section to section, or bringing desperately needed supplies. After being on the receiving end of a number of British volleys, the American forces would slowly start to withdraw towards the village of Queenston.
The same guy that keeps shooting everybody.
As the Americans started their retreat towards the village of Queenston, it was the 13th U.S. Infantry that formed the Green Guard. Though the armies would try to get their officers off of the field when wounded, for the rest of the men, they would lay where they fell. the American forces begin their retreat back towards the village of Queenston, you can see the British line advancing section by section, giving no quarter. So now we see that the bulk of the American forces have retreated definitively off the field, and we just have the 13th Infantry remaining to try to hold their position while the troops head towards the beach. Once there, however, the United States forces realize that there are no boats available, and surrender appears to be the only option. Towards the beach, with no boats and no way of retreating back across the Niagara River towards Lewiston, Winfield Scott had to make 3 attempts at surrender before he was finally successful.
Yeah.
By 4 p.m. in the afternoon, the battle was over and Upper Canada was saved. See the British commander accepting the surrender. Apparently the British forces have a bit more fight in them left. To mark the end of this ultimately tragic afternoon, the drums of 1812 will now play a lament. Out of respect for the fallen of all nations, we would ask that you observe a moment of silence during the playing of the lament. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we could get a round of applause for these reenactors.